Why aren't you double pipping this killer? It's actually easier than you might think. It just takes a different playstyle than what you're used to. So if you're struggling to rank up and you're not quite sure why, I'm here to help you. Before we get into it, I stream on Twitch. Come say hi. We'd love to have you. That's all. First of all, how do you rank up? Now, it might seem obvious, but part of this is due to how many survivors you actually kill in the game. But there are 3 whole other categories that are much more than that. You need to make sure that you're putting as many points into each of the other categories as you humanly can. By maxing out all 4 categories, you can secure yourself a double pip. Let me start by saying that this is much easier to achieve at lower ranks, as the thresholds for getting a pip are notably lower. Whereas at higher ranks, you'll need to get iridescent in each scoring category. Now, the scoring in Dead by Daylight is broken down into 4 categories, each of which you'll need to perform well in. The first category is Gatekeeper. This is your ability to keep generators from being completed for as long as possible. In order to do this, you need to make sure that in the early game, your main focus is pushing survivors away from generators. You don't want to avoid any one generator for too long, as this gives survivors much longer to get uninterrupted progress, which is bad for you. Where a lot of killers go wrong at this stage is they tend to focus more on the first survivor that they find and become tunnel visioned on securing that hook. If you don't shut down that chase early on, you need to know when to leave it. Too many killers lose way too many generators early on because of this. If you're chasing one survivor but you notice a nearby gen with more survivors on it looking like it's about to pop, then drop that chase and interrupt the gen. Trust me, when you want to rank up, this is important. The Devout category is the most simple of the bunch. It just means how many survivors you manage to kill. Unlike the next 2 categories that I'll mention after this one, you actually can't get any negative points in this field. You get some points for hooking each survivor at least once and getting 9 hook states in total, with even more points being awarded for each survivor that you sacrifice by any means. And yes, any form of Amori does count without hindering you in this field. The Malicious category is actually the one that people make the most mistakes in and is probably the reason why a lot of them can't rank up, no matter how much they try, and it's because of one very common mistake. This category awards you points based on how many times you physically hit a survivor. Why does this matter? Because for killers that have a one-hit down ability, add-on or perk, you're actually halving the amount of points that you could be getting. Taking away 2 health states at once does not double your points. So how can you get around this? Well, if you're using a killer like Plague, Hillbilly, Leatherface, Oni, etc., you'll need to hit the survivors once with your basic attack before you attempt to use your power. So hit, then chainsaw, hit, then vomit on them, hit, then use Blood Fury. I know, sounds boring, especially when you just want to zoom around the map as Hillbilly, but if you want that achievement, you're going to have to do this. As I mentioned earlier, it is actually possible for you to lose points in this category, either from allowing survivors to completely heal a health state or by allowing a survivor to wiggle out of your grasp when carrying them to a hook. So you want to make sure that you've got a good awareness of what survivors are doing around the map, and don't try and carry them to a hook if there's not one nearby. So this is where things get difficult, because with Malicious, you also have to balance Chaser. This category requires the highest amount of points to achieve a decent emblem, and they require you to end chases very quickly. The highest amount of points are awarded for ending a chase in under 15 seconds, with the lowest amount awarded for any chase longing lasted than 60 seconds. That's not actually an awful lot of time in the real world, but when you're playing killer, every second counts. So much like I said with the Gatekeeper category, you really can't be sticking to one survivor for an awfully long time if you can't down them. If you end a chase without downing a survivor, you will not lose any points, but you are awarded 0 for the chase. You can, however, lose a hefty amount of points in this category for camping a survivor once they're on the hook. This doesn't just extend to face camping either. If you're within 60 meters of the hooked survivor 10 seconds after they've been hooked, then you'll lose 3 points per second. If you're within 8 meters, then that's 7.5 points per second. This should really encourage you to venture away from the hook and seek out those other survivors. Like I said before, you need to secure a lot of points in this category. You can't be camping the hook. It may take a few attempts for you to get used to this new playstyle, but hopefully now with this knowledge, you'll be able to rank up faster. If you enjoyed this video, you may want to check out this one where I explain the ranking system in more detail. If you liked, leave a like and sub for the next time that I post another DBD video. I'll see you in the next one.